Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Jewish Health Podcast. This episode, we're going to be talking about what I'm going to be talking about because it's just me right now. The reason why I said that is because in the next few weeks we've got more guests coming up. So I was just thinking before I started saying, "Oh, we've got guests. I need to tell people we've got more guests coming on. It's just not me speaking all the time." So that's why I said we. But this episode, I'm going to be talking about my own experience. So I'm not going to be talking about my London Marathon experience, my growing up experience, because I missed it. So last 2 weeks ago, no, 2 weeks ago, around 23rd of April, yeah, around 2 weeks from just under 2 weeks, is my anniversary of the London Marathon when I was the third youngest to run the London Marathon in 2017. Third youngest isn't official, but I know there were two people younger than me, which actually was not official. And I just thought, you know what, I was 18 years old, 3 weeks. So I was thinking, surely there's not going to be another person younger than me. So I like to say third. If I was first, it would be nice. But anyway, that's not the point of this podcast. I'm going to do another episode talking about my experience on the marathon. I don't know why I haven't talked about it. I have a while ago on my Instagram because that's an emotional storyline. That's a movie in the years to come. I'm joking, but actually, it was really tough, and there's a lot of things to talk about that. And actually, some tips for runners who they want to run, or if you let's say you want to start running 5Ks and you love the running bug and you get half marathons and marathons. My journey is actually really good for you and my training and my experiencing. I should really just talk about it in this episode, but this episode is going to be different. This episode is going to be talking about my Challah shred. So if you follow me on Instagram, and if you don't, the Jewish Fitness Coach, at the beginning of the year, I decided to talk about to do my own Challah shred experience. And what Challah shred is, it's basically you're shredding weight, shredding body fat percentage. You're losing size, you're getting a bit leaner. And the reason why I've called it the Challah shred is because you see social media influencers, you see celebrities promoting these really harming diets, like unethical diets, fad diets, which are only short-term things, and or you see companies which make you do a diet where, again, removes food, and they're not very healthy. Again, unethical short-term diets. And a lot of these foods if you followed them, challah will not be part of the diet. A lot of influencers, celebrities, when they do extreme transformations, they're not having a fran at dinner, they're not having challah, they're not having bread. But the point of this is you can still make a huge transformation, make a huge difference in your life, not just a huge difference in your life physically wise, actually enjoy the journey, actually feel better by having challah. I'm not saying I'm not like my challah treble isn't just me having challah every single day, but the principle was I didn't have to remove challah. I didn't have to remove carbohydrates. I didn't have to I'm going to talk about this in experience to achieve your goals. It was really about making small changes, and it's proving that if I can do it, you can do it. Now, yes, I've got to be realistic. I've done many shreds, cuts, bulks in the past because I'm my online coach, I'm a PT. But my first few, I really struggled with, and now I've learned from my personal experience. So it was a bit easier, a bit more comfortable for me. But there's so much you can take from this experience and implement it to your journey. Now, I'm not saying you have to do exactly what I've done because everyone's very different. You don't need to do. But the principle is you don't have to punish yourself in the gym every single day. You don't have to be so restrictive. You don't have to say no to every single family event in your life because you're so focused on your fitness goals. These are all short-term things. I understand why you may do it, and you're going to learn from those experiences. So I'm just going to talk briefly about my journey. And I don't really like talking about my journey sometimes. It's always a bit weird. But I feel like it's good because I know actually the feedback I received from people when I was kind of vlogging it on a weekly basis was, wow, that's really interesting that you lost 2 pounds this week by being human, by going to gym a few times a week, by walking every single day, by hitting my protein targets, and nothing crazy. And I think this is the main point of the Challah shred. You don't have to be doing such intense stuff. Very common for someone who wants to start the fitness journey is a few things. They'll do loads of extra cardio in the gym, which makes sense because I understand, because maybe strength training isn't something constant right now. So doing loads of cardio every single day makes sense, but you don't need to do so much. You could cut out every single unhealthy food in your life. That's snacks, sweets. If you think carbohydrates is unhealthy, of course, anything too much is unhealthy. Even having too many bananas is unhealthy. They cut out all these foods. You think you got to cut out all these foods? You one in the gym, you may want to spend hours in the gym, and then on Friday night dinner, you got to cut out color. Now, the truth is, not this is the fun part. When people try and do a cut, they're not normally cutting out color anyway, because color is something enjoyable. But the problem is, they think that Friday night dinner and the weekend is it's like, oh, they've gone off track, and then they overconsume at the weekend. But you understand that actually it's just calories. There's a podcast episode called talk about cheat meals and cheat days. And I really recommend you do that, because if you've got the mindset of how many cheat days do you have each day, or how many cheat days do you have each week, you shouldn't be having cheat days. That doesn't even exist. That's just meals. If you think you need to have a cheat day, whatever you're doing right now is way too restrictive, because you can incorporate that burger when you want it. Not obviously you want to have nutritious food most of the time, but you should be able to have, quote, cheat days, cheat meals, and still be making progress. It's not like, oh, I've had a day off track now, I'm going to get back on Monday. You are still on track. You just need to get back on track. You don't have to overconsume. It's the mindset shift. So I didn't really plan for this, talking about my experience. So what throughout my collar shred, I lost around 16 pounds. So it was just around under 8 kilograms. And for me, I was pretty lean afterwards. I lost body fat percentage. It was coming from a big bulk. So this is very fitness terms, but before my collar shred, I was putting on weight because I wanted to help me in my strength training. So I put on a bit of weight, which meant a bit of extra fat. I was having more food. But not, personally, for me, I don't always feel I feel a bit uncomfortable in a bulk, because I feel I'm consuming more food, which obviously sounds like, oh, amazing, but you got to be quite careful. And obviously I got my personal best and stuff, amazing. And then I went to a collar shred where I lost 16 pounds. And the point of it wasn't to get super lean. Like, I had a question in my inbox on Instagram a week ago, saying, oh, do you think you could have got leaner? And 100%. But the truth is, if you wanted to get super lean, like bodybuilder lean, or the truth, like an influencer on Instagram or celebrity, and then you see their visible, you see the abs, you see the veins in the abs, the color shred won't exist. Like, you're not going to have a Friday night dinner. You won't be having a Friday night dinner. You'll be having a small portion of food. You'll be very restrictive to food, and you lose a lot of happiness. And this is the thing, like, people think, oh, you've got to do that to achieve your goal. And this is the point. I didn't do that. I was able to enjoy my Friday night dinner. I was able to not work out every single day. And I still made a huge difference. And you see my Instagram, I look amazing before and afterwards, but that's enough, you know. I personally would question a lot of people who want to get super, super lean. What's the why behind you want to become super, super lean? Is it a you thing, or is it actually you want to impress someone else? Now, if you want to impress someone else, amazing, but that's only going to be a short-term thing. So when I do it myself, this is all for me. It was a bit of a challenge. For the first few weeks, I counted calories because I haven't counted them for a while. And then after 2 weeks, I stopped doing it because I knew, oh, this is really interesting. I remember how much was foods, and I just kind of hit some targets and ensure that I was having protein every single day. And I was able to monitor my progress by measuring myself every few days. And the truth is, I'm very fortunate, because I'm not very fortunate. I've had some challenging experiences with my own cuts through university, where I had not the best relationship with food, didn't have the best relationship with my body. And the truth is, through those experiences, a little squeak, through those experiences, I'm very, very happy now. So when I went on this shred, I'm very fortunate to say it was a bit more of an easy experience for me, where maybe some of my clients, or maybe some of you, the first time they do it is always such a challenge. And it could be quite daunting to count calories. And you may know someone who has counted calories and they've had a bad experience, but you shouldn't be comparing yourself to someone else, because you're so different. You have different lives. You shouldn't be listening to them. You may want to use a different experience. You may want to have different strategies, but you may need to try it to see if it's for you. And then it's not a thing you do forever. So that's one thing I did to help me on my nutrition journey. And the only thing I did nutrition-wise and training-wise was to stay exactly the same as I have been doing for the last 2 years now. not 5 years, because 5 years ago I was training every single day, and that wasn't the most healthy thing because it was pointless for me. But the last 2 years, I've been doing exactly the same thing. I've been strength training 3 to 5 times a week, probably now 3 to 4 times a week. 2 years ago, probably 5, but now 3 to 4 times a week. And then I walk every single day and I hit my step count targets. And that's all I do regarding training. Once every 2 weeks, I try to go for a run because I love running. If you know me, I grew up running, not grew up running. Running was being part of my my fitness journey. It makes me feel good. I love it as cardio, and I don't have to do it as often because I get enough steps in. But I do it because actually it's a nice freedom. I like running around the forest we have near us, and it's quite like a nice mental break for me. But I only do it once every 2 weeks, maybe 3 weeks now, and I hit my steps every day. That's it regarding training strength. But the point that I can do is I can stay consistent. And can you stay consistent? If you can't stay consistent with 3, 4 strength sessions a week, do 2 strength sessions a week, hit your steps. And that's amazing. That's all you need to do right now. Because once you stay consistent, you'll be like, there'll be one day you'll be like, you know what? This is pretty good now. I feel comfortable doing this. Is pretty a habit. Once it's a habit, you can make it more challenging. You can go 3, 4 times a week to the gym. You could add an extra 10, 5K steps to your thing. That makes it more challenging. Can you be consistent with that? Be consistent. When it comes to training, you don't need to overthink it. You need to find a plan that you can stay consistent with, and you can find how many steps you can stay consistent with, and you can plan around your diary. And you need to stay consistent with it. That's all you need to do regarding training. And with nutrition, you've got to be in a calorie deficit. If you want to be doing the Challah shred, you've got to be looking at what you're consuming. You've got to be having a strategy for the weekend where actually you've got Friday dinner, you may have Shabbat lunch, you may have going out in the evening. You've got to plan according towards it. But most importantly, you've got to actually take a step back and be realistic with actually which week you're going to lose weight. So there was weeks in my Challah shred journey, where I was losing weight each week, and there'll be a week where I had a birthday. I think it was my mother's birthday, and I didn't lose weight that week because I knew I wanted to enjoy my week. I wanted to enjoy my celebrations, the chocolates, because I think it's like a family tradition now to have loads of chocolates. Amazing, loved it. And that week I went to maintenance. So what maintenance is, I pushed up my calories slightly, enjoyed myself, because I made the decision I'm not going to lose weight this week, and because I'm going to hit a maintenance, I didn't feel like I needed to over consume, because I didn't feel like I wasn't restrictive, and I was able to enjoy myself, and I didn't feel guilty for enjoying myself. Because sometimes when I used to feel guilty, and for some people who feel guilty when they consume, they're like, oh, I feel guilty now, I'm going to start Monday and over consume the next day. But I didn't. I was just able to enjoy myself throughout the week, and I just maintained my weight for that week. Obviously a bit of fluctuations, and went back on track the next week. And that's something really interesting to think about. And this is something I do with all my clients, is actually we address, well, there may be a week where there's weddings, celebrations and stuff, and actually that week isn't worth weight loss. And it's a really good experience and a good challenge for yourself to actually be able to control. And you'll realize mentally it's a lot easier too when you're not so hard on yourself, because I have to be so restrictive. It's a really powerful thing. And then one thing I was also mentioning is my weight fluctuations. So something which was a really key point in my journey is my weight fluctuated like crazy. Because that's how it is. Like before, after toilet, I have a lot of water each day. All these factors, sleep, all these things will make your weight fluctuate. Be bloated after having water, meals, all these things happened. Years ago, I would have freaked out. For a lot of people now, you would have freaked out if you saw yourself if you weighed yourself once on a Friday, and that day on the Friday, it was before the toilet, and you had a big meal Thursday night, you were still hitting your calories, but that Friday morning, you're going to be up in weight. And when I went up in fluctuations, I had like a fluctuation where I went up in like 5 to 7 pounds on one day. So I went up in 7 pounds in the middle of the day and down. That's why I weigh myself. I did that experiment just for that day, just to prove that my weight fluctuated like crazy. But from the average of the week, I did it 3 times each week, I was down in weight. So understanding that your weight fluctuates, yes, you're going on the scales a few times more than you want, but it's worth it for actually your understanding that you are making progress. And even though the weight scale, it doesn't really matter what the weight scale is saying. Of course, that's important for every single person. If you're being healthy, you're being fit, amazing. But my point of my fitness Challah shred was to lose weight, cut weight. So that was my goal. So that makes sense for me. But as long as I was making progress, I knew that I was in my calorie deficit and I was achieving my goals. And then that was really it. I was able to enjoy a few pieces of challah on Friday night dinner. And I was able to stay consistent. I was hitting my calories. I didn't track over the weekend. I follow the strategies that I give myself and give to my clients, and so on and so on. I'm just trying to think of any other things I thought about. I should have done a Q&A to help me with this, but I haven't. I thought this morning, I was like, you know what, let's talk about my challah shred journey. And I didn't think about how much stuff I actually done to fit it in. So look, the point of this podcast episode is you really need to be careful of who you follow. I think if that's the main important thing. And you may compare yourself to someone, an influencer, a celebrity, who are 30 steps ahead of you, who will live a different life, who do not have Friday dinners, who do not have various festivals each year. And you're comparing yourself to them. And what they're doing is, one, I'm not going to say any drugs enhancing, because I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to go down that route. But one, you don't know what's happening behind the scenes. Their diet may be very, very restrictive. They may be working out all the time. They don't need to do that, but that's their job. They're getting paid to do that. If I gave you 10, 20 million pounds, maybe you'll say no because it may not make you happy. But for them, they're going to do it. And they're going to have to do stuff which actually may be unethical from your point of view. So why are you following them? Unless you're really passionate about what they do, amazing. But if you're following them from a physique point of view and, I want to get a big bum like her or him, or I want to get those shoulders, then is that realistic for you? Whereas for me, compare yourself to me. I'm only a few steps ahead of you. Whatever your goal could be, it will be achieved. Like you can achieve whatever goal you want by strength training a few times a week, by moving more every single day, by hitting a protein target, by having a nutrition strategy that's suitable for you. And you don't have to be cutting out all these crazy things. And that's the point. That's really the point of this challah shred, my challah shred experience. Yes, I could have become more lean and I may do another more of a serious cut in the future. But the point of this was you really don't need to push too many boundaries to get a result. And if you can stay consistent, if you can gain the mental benefits first by building a routine that makes you feel good, by able to go for a walk every single day, which can help you feel good. All these, are you going to strength train to make you feel stronger? And you're going to have proteins to make you feel recovered. Focus on them first. Like you don't worry about the whole weight changes first. Focus on finding a routine first. Make adjustments along the way, and you'll get to your goal. Now, of course, as a coach here, everyone listening to this podcast is going to, everyone's very, very different. So I'm not going to be saying, oh, you need to do X, Y, and Z. This is just the similar things that I did. Now, I'm not expecting you to do 3-4 strength trainings a week. You need to do something which works for you. I'm not expecting you to count your calories. You need to do what works for you. And that's my job as a coach and my clients to help them. So obviously, if you do need extra support, you send me a message on Instagram and I will love to help. You know, that's my job. My job is to help you get from A to B with a plan which is suitable for your goals and can challenge you, but most importantly, that you can stay consistent with. And that's the main goal of here, is how you can stay consistent with a plan that's suitable for you. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this episode of the Challah Shred experience. If you want to do your own Challah Shred, I love the name. It's just at the beginning, it was really weird to say it, but now it just comes off the tongue very nicely. If you want to have your own challah shred experience and enjoy challah, send me a message on Instagram. But if not, definitely follow me on Instagram, because I post so much value to level up your own health and fitness knowledge. So if you haven't followed me on Instagram yet or TikTok, make sure to follow me, because I promise you, after 3 days of you following me, you have learned something new and something going to help you with your own journey. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I look forward for you to listening to the next one.